I'm happy that you all made time to cover this story. And it's one of the sadder stories that would have come out of T&Tec for many years. On week before, the 27th of September, there were some issues at the Cove power plant in Tobago, which caused the plant to shut down and was taken out of, had to come out of service, which led to an island-wide blackout in Tobago. Now, T&Tec has 2 submarine cables, which would normally be the electrical umbilical cord for Tobago. These 2 cables are not even capable of providing 1/4 of the electrical power needs of Tobago. So it is there as a backup, but it cannot really back up the generating plant. Now, approximately 10 years ago, the state spent $500 million to construct a 64 megawatt gas diesel plant in Tobago. 4 machines, each with the capacity of 16 megawatts. The Commission has not made the necessary adjustments that would ensure that this plant is properly maintained. And when I say properly maintained in terms of timeliness, because these machines are sensitive as jet engines, they have to have preventative maintenance, not breakdown maintenance. And in every case, these 4 machines exceeded its recommended time by more than 100%. So if the time for major overhaul is 24,000 hours, all of them exceeded that by 100%. So that is the first thing. The second thing is that there are other issues on the plant which is not getting attention. And it has to do with the radiators, it has to do with the exhaust system, and it has to do with some other important electrical and electronic factors within the plant itself. Now, coming to the reason for the total shutdown of the plant, there is a sensor inside that plant which will detect smoke, it will detect hot gases. And when it detects hot gases, the system will protect the plant by shutting the gas supply to the generators. This will cause, of course, the generators to shut down. And my information is that this was out of service for about 7 years, and during the maintenance process, someone put it back in service, which is the correct procedure. What happened is that the plant shut down, and there is evidence that there are leaks of hot gases inside the plant. Hence the reason why the management took off that alarm which would protect the plant. So someone put it back in, which is the correct thing to do. All right? And the plant shut down. Subsequently, a senior management official, the general manager himself, visited the plant with police making unfounded charges that there was sabotage on the plant. Now, this sort of unhinged behavior is not singular to that incident, and we have called on the board on more than one occasion to rein him in. Now, if every time we have a blackout that you assume it before an investigation that is sabotage, then you are going to have workers operating too cautiously. We've had information that workers who have identified these problems either directly or indirectly, there's a campaign to discredit them, and in fact there are moves in some circles, it's my understanding, to take action against these workers. Now, that Cove power plant is by far the most important industrial complex in Tobago, and it is T&Tec's most expensive single asset. And therefore, the Tobagonians are very proud of this plant, and the mere suggestion by somebody who ought to know better that these workers are indeed complicit in some sort of sabotage is very unfortunate indeed. We are calling on the board to have this officer of the commission apologize to these workers for the unfortunate insinuation and take some sort of action to ensure that if he is indeed under psychological pressure or whatever reason for that sort of behavior, that this behavior be curbed, because you cannot accuse people who only have the best for the commission and the country at heart, accuse them of sabotage when in fact they are trying to protect the plant. Because the government, taxpayers, you and I, spent $500 million to ensure that Tobago is self-sufficient in electricity. So we are calling on Mr. Keith Surgery, Chairman of the Board, to take action. We have been trying to meet with him since July. He didn't respond to our initial requests. When he did respond, sometime in early October, he said that our urgent meeting is so urgent that he can find time only in November. In the meantime, these instances, and the Cove Power Station, of course, is not the only instance, are continuing to take place, and we felt that we had no choice but to bring this situation to taxpayers who are the real owners of the plant. And we feel that it's important that the political directorate also understands that this sort of behavior, right, and when people speak up for the rights and the correct managerial decisions being taken with regards to expensive state assets, that they not be humiliated in the way that these workers were humiliated. Right? In Cove, we've had situations where workers stood up for HSC before and they lost pay. Right? In February of 2014, this was the case. So there is a pervasive sort of disrespect for the views of those workers, and we feel it is time that we stop doing these to people who sincerely care about the well-being of the plant. Based on what has happened at other companies, we have been always very, very careful to inform the national community when state enterprises are not being run properly. The government's mantra is going to be that the workers, not the management, not their lack of oversight, that the workers are to blame and that the company should be sold. We have been hearing rumors and seeing certain movements on that plant which would suggest that it is a real possibility that the Cove Power Plant is going to be sold, and the strategy is to run it down to make the people who operate the plant without resources be blamed for it. Right? We have situations where we have been advised that the Commission does not make proper arrangements to stock the place with parts which are predictably changed within manufacturer's specifications, and they are not doing that. When parts are recommended, people in Trinidad simply just edit the list and put the plant at risk. So it is important that the maintenance activity for that power station be well funded, and that procurement procedures put in place befitting of the proper maintenance of our power plant. So once again, we are calling on the powers that be, the board, the line ministry, corporation sole, to get involved and sort out this problem once and for all. Because at the end of the day, it is the people of Tobago, right, and that are at risk, and that is going to cost a whole lot more money if you have to do this maintenance after some sort of destructive event than to maintain the thing in time before you have a problem. So that is the basis of our news conference today, and we invite questions from the media.
So any workers detained, no question in
Well, no worker, no, I understand that it's my understanding that there were expatriate contractors on the plant, and they also were questioned by the police. No, I understand some people might have been detained for a short period of time, but no one was charged. And no one was charged because there's definitely no sabotage to report. That's why no one was charged. Right?
And the reason for the breakdown is because of a sensor that went off?
The sensor picked up, my information, the sensor picked up hot gases, which is a dangerous thing inside a generator plant. And just to give you an idea of, these machines spin at about 60 revs per second. And an explosion would mean projectiles that will go a long way. Right next door, adjacent to the generator hall, where the 4 generators are housed, is a gas processing plant. So if there's an explosion in that vicinity, it will take out the gas supply for the entire island, and it could cause some serious damage and possible loss of life.
When you say gas processing plant, that's a separate entity?
Yes, as an NGC facility, the gas that is one of fields closer to Tobago, the beachhead is right next to the Cove power plant, and in that facility, the gas is processed and sent to the power station.
Thank you.